Hi everyone, it is great to have everybody back today. Happy New Year, happy 2020. Excuse my voice, I've got a little bit of laryngitis. Camera guy's actually been sick for a full week. He's back to work today and I'm actually feeling really good, but my voice is just a little bit raspy, so sorry about that. But it is great to have you guys back. Wasn't it a wonderful holiday break? We had a wonderful time with our family and friends. And we did miss the community here though, and it really does feel good to be back in the routine of our Monday live stream. So I hope you guys feel the same. It's great to see you all in the chat early, and I'm glad to hear that you had a great holiday season, a happy new year, and get ready to garden. Spring garden series or spring gardening is on the countdown. I know a lot of you are dying to get your hands in the soil and get out in the garden, get out in the sunshine. We're actually streaming inside today. I really wanted to be outdoors, but of course, what do we have here? Another windstorm. So we have had so much wind this winter time, and today it is just blowing like crazy out there. And I went outside to take my thumbnail this morning, and then the winds kicked up, and I thought there is no way I can go out there. The camera would be blowing around everywhere. So here we are in the indoor garden, which actually works out great. So super excited that all of you are joining me today. We're gonna be talking about 3 reasons why people don't start a garden. Now, it might seem kind of funny to start off with something like that, but I really want this year to be one of you seasoned gardeners, you experienced gardeners who have been here with us for a while, of encouraging your friends to get into growing veggies, because we all know what a wonderful experience it is. So I wanted to talk about why people don't grow their garden, don't grow veggies, and then talk about what we can do about that. So if you're here today joining us for the first time and you're on the fence as to whether or not you want to start a garden, hopefully this will encourage you as well. So we're talking to 2 different groups of people, those who are on the fence and those who are experienced and want to encourage your friends. So hopefully that includes just about everyone here. So let me just say hello in the chat here. I've got my computer off to the side, so I'm looking at the live stream off on my computer as well and looking through the chat. Cole, how are you from Nova Scotia? I'm sure it's really cold there. Yes, it has been a while. Hi, Debbie. I love Debbie. We had a chance to visit her garden when we were in Maui this past summer. And Debbie says she loves the idea of encouraging others to grow a garden this year. Absolutely great. Yeah, my throat is a little bit scratchy today. I'm not actually sick, but I just have a little bit of a laryngitis and a little bit of a cough. So we're doing fine though. Nisha, hi, how are you? Thank you so much. And by the way, guys, Nisha was so kind. She sent me a wonderful little gift. And she sent me this passion fruit cutting, which is from her garden. And Nisha was just asking me how it was doing. Nisha, you can see it's putting on some new growth here. So pretty soon I got to get this transplanted. I'm probably going to put it in a little transplanter like this. And then hopefully as the weather warms up, we're going to get it out in the garden. So I really love that, Nisha, and I'm really excited to grow a little bit of your garden in my garden. It's so very thoughtful. Okay, let's see who else is here. Tammy Royal. Hello, gardening is therapeutic. It absolutely is. It's so wonderful. Rebecca, hi from Las Vegas. Happy 2020. I missed you. Thank you, Rebecca. I missed you too. Let's see, from Kansas, Nellykins, Mountain Property, Chantel Boom, Mr. Crazy Cool, Oscar, Rainbees Planting Germinating, hello. Pia, I saw someone watching from Lithuania, wow. Jurgita, hi, welcome. Traveling Grandma. Rita, oh my gosh, you guys, we met Rita at our book launch signing party at Painting with a Twist. It was so wonderful to meet her. Rita drove all the way from San Diego. She drove, I think it took her 2 or 3 hours. She left at 3 in the morning to get to our event so she would miss the LA traffic. It was wonderful to meet her, and I absolutely love it because now I can put a face with the name. It was just so much fun. Okay guys, we're gonna jump in. We actually have a lot to cover today. I want to talk about first of all, the reasons why people don't garden. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And then we're going to jump into the solutions or how you can help encourage your friends when they might give you this reason. So we're going to go kind of back and forth between the reasons, talk about all the reasons, then go back and forth to the chat, and then come back and talk about the solutions and go back and forth into the chat and answer questions and everything. So welcome. Okay, let's jump right in and talk about the first reason that I've heard anyway when I ask my friends, why don't you grow a garden? I love gardening. What holds you back? And the first thing people tell me, and let me know if you can relate to this, is that it just seems way too complicated. I know when I first started gardening, I was a brand new gardener. And you guys might have read this in my book. I actually grew up gardening, but then I stopped for a long time as I was kind of growing up, becoming an adult, didn't think I had room to garden. And when I decided to jump back in, I was so overwhelmed by all of the information that was out there. I didn't really know where to start, and it just seemed really complicated. So I really kind of put it off for a long time because I was kind of nervous about it and I really didn't know where to start. So if you can relate to that, let me know in the chat here. I mean, when you look up how to grow a garden, as you guys well know, tons of information comes up on the internet and you're just overwhelmed with all the different methods. And pretty soon, if you're like me, you just kind of give up because you don't know where to start. So let me head into the chat here and see if you guys can relate to that. And don't worry, we are going to come back and talk about a solution for that. So let me know if you've heard that from some of your friends as well. Okay, let's see here. Catherine Little Bear, she's usually on here every single live stream. Your book was my gift to my daughter. Made her very happy. Catherine, that's wonderful. I am so glad that your daughter is enjoying it. And I actually talk a little bit about my story in here, which is what I'm sharing with you guys today as well. In the very first chapter here, why I grow my own food and why you do too. I talk about some of the reasons why I didn't start gardening when I first started and why I do now. So Nisha, I saw that you made a comment there that it was overwhelming when you first started. Kim Huddleston is saying absolutely felt that way, but decided to go for it, which is wonderful. That's one of the things we're gonna talk about is just jumping right in. Lisa J said, we always had a garden when I was growing up, so starting one seemed just like the thing to do. And I can totally relate to that, Lisa, because as I mentioned, we had a garden as well, and so I really wanted to. And when we finally were able to buy a house of our own and I had some space, it was a natural thing for me to do to start a garden. I just had to figure out how to do it. So, okay, let's jump back and talk about reason number 2, and then you guys can let me know if you can relate to this. So, Grace, wonderful. I'm overwhelmed with the cost of organic soil. Okay, we're gonna get to that actually in just a moment. So V Dimmitt, you are leading right into my second reason. Usually people say it takes too much time. I agree, it does take a lot of time, but it's worth it. So thank you so much for mentioning that. And that is actually reason number 2. Besides being too complicated, a lot of people say they don't have the time to do it. So that was one of my huge reasons as well. When I started, I was a mom of 2 young kids. Our kids were little at the time. And a busy wife. I was a stay-at-home mom, so I wasn't working. But you guys know how it is when you have kids. There's always something to do. There's always someone to take care of. You've got to do your grocery shopping, your laundry, get your kids to school back and forth. And I wanted to grow my own vegetables. I really wanted to have that taste of homegrown like I had growing up. But I just didn't think I had the time, and that really stopped me for quite a while. So let me know in the chat if you can relate to that, and if you've ever had that experience of thinking, I wanna grow, but I just don't have the time. And Amy, hi Amy, how are you? Grew up gardening too, and 6 kids my parents canned. Oh my gosh, I so relate to that. I talked about that in the first chapter here. I actually grew up in a family of 10 kids. Crazy, crazy. I do not know how my mom did it because I feel like I have my hands full or had my hands full. Still do sometimes, my kids are grown up. I only have 2 kids, and so I do not know how she did it. But I talked about that in here, how with 10 kids, we had a huge garden just to save on grocery bills. And my parents put all of us to work in the garden. There were long, long rows of beans to pick, corn to husk. My mom canned absolutely everything, canned and froze it. And I didn't necessarily love it when I was younger because the garden chores seemed endless. At the same time, as an adult, I had such fond memories of that I wanted to get back to growing my own food. So if you've ever struggled with, it's too complicated or it takes too much time, or have friends who struggle with that, let me know. Okay, Nicole says, yes, I agree. It's my Monday to Friday with kids, absolutely. Running them around everywhere, it's sports, school, whatever. So to be able to garden, decided to include them. They were so eager to learn and had lots and lots of questions. Nicole, I absolutely love that. And that's actually one of the solutions we're going to talk about in just a moment. But thank you so much for bringing that up. It's a great way to have that family time and learn how to do a fun activity together. So Cole here is mentioning I'm 14. So Cole, I'm so glad you're growing your own food. At 14 years old, that's a great way to start out. I've been gardening with school and the fish hobby. It can be hard to find time, but otherwise during the summer, I'm out in the garden any chance I can get. Cole, absolutely love it. And hopefully this year, if you haven't already, you'll be able to encourage some of your friends to get out in the garden with you. And that would be absolutely wonderful. Okay, Cliff is saying, when we got married, my wife had never purchased anything made from a tomato or store-bought jams, jellies. Everything was produced at home. And what a great feeling that is, Cliff. That's pretty much how I grew up as well. And the flavor is absolutely unmatched. And it's really, it's really hard to go back to anything else. All right, sorry guys about that. Okay, so we have our first two reasons. Too complicated. Too time consuming. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard the third reason from a lot of your friends. I know for me, this held me back for a long time, is the expense. Too expensive to get started. I know when I first started out as a young mom, a stay-at-home mom, we only had one income and we didn't have a very large budget in our household, let alone a budget for buying a ton of supplies. So that was one thing I was very nervous about, is how in the world am I gonna not only find the time, figure out how to do it, but also be able to afford to buy all of the supplies. So it definitely can be costly, but there are ways that you can keep your costs down and really keep it inexpensive. So let me know if you guys have ever struggled with that, or have friends that have told you I can't do it because it is just too expensive. Now I see here Lady Zelda is talking about not enough room. And that actually held me back for quite a while too, Lady Zelda. And it can be frustrating when you want to grow a ton of stuff, but just don't have the space. But there's a lot of different ways that you can maximize your space and still grow your own vegetables. And if you haven't, go back and check out the Small Space Garden series, where we talked all about how to maximize your space, grow in containers, grow up, not out, all kinds of ideas there on how to grow your veggies. Okay, Mr. Crazy Cool, I can relate, as I am 11, wow, that's awesome, and have to do a lot of chores, and I can sell my art. I do everything I can to earn money. And I love that. So where there's a will, there's a way. Here's an 11-year-old young man who is doing what he can to make an income so that he can buy the supplies he needs to get started. So wonderful, I absolutely love that. It's so wonderful to see kids getting going. Okay, let's see here. Debbie, yes, it can be expensive and takes time, but keeping the cost down by making your own compost helps a lot. Absolutely, Debbie. And I know, seeing at your garden, you have two wonderful large compost bins, so you can see what you can do to cut the costs and invest your money into the things that are really important, like the soil and different things that are a worthy investment, and then cut costs wherever you can everywhere else. So, okay guys, that's basically kind of sums up three objections that I hear from my friends on why they don't garden. And now we're gonna talk about some of the solutions so that when you hear these from your friends, you can help them and encourage them to start growing your own veggies. Because if you've grown your own veggies before, you know how wonderful it is, how you can really save a lot on groceries. The flavor, of course, is absolutely out of this world. And then I know a lot of you, like me, grow your own gardens for the absolute enjoyment. It's such good garden therapy. Getting outside, getting your hands in the soil, just feeling that warm sun on your back, you really discover how magical gardening is and how absolutely enjoyable and what a thrill it is to be out there. So what I want to do before we jump into the solutions is talk about just a couple things that are coming up. Now, there were several of you who made it to our book launch party a few weeks ago. We are in the process of scheduling several other book signings to start off with here around Southern California, and we do have one coming up this Saturday. It's at the Barnes & Noble bookstore in Thousand Oaks, California, from 12 o'clock till 2 o'clock. So it's January 11th. Barnes & Noble, Thousand Oaks, California. If you live anywhere in the area, I would love to meet you. I'm going to be there somewhere in the store. I'm not exactly sure where, with a table, signing books, meeting you, shaking your hand. So if you come, you can bring your own book if you already have one, or pick one up in the store. And everyone that comes and buys a book or brings their book will also get this free little bookmark. I'm going to try and bring some free seeds along with me. Hopefully they'll let me give them away in the store, free little seed packets to everyone who joins us. So I would love to meet you. It was so much fun at our launch party a few weeks ago to meet Rita, to meet Brandon. He's usually here. I don't know if he's here today. And to meet some other people who came, and it was just so much fun. So thank you guys again so much to those of you who've already picked up a copy of my book and read through it and posted about how much you're enjoying it. That just makes me so happy and feel so connected that you guys are reading my book and enjoying it. And I actually have a sale going on today, 10% off my book, signed copies of my book on my website, also all my seeds and containers. If you use the code CallieKim2020, and Christy will post all of that in the chat. So Garden Obsessions, hopefully we'll be able to, as we travel over the next 6 months or so, be able to arrange some book signings out on the East Coast as well. We're hoping to get back east again to the Rusted Garden in Maryland in the spring, and we'll be hopefully arranging a couple other trips and book signings on the way as well. So definitely keep an eye on my social media at CallieKim29 on Instagram, on my Facebook page, Callie Kim Garden and Home, because that's where I post all the announcements when we're traveling and are doing meet and greets or book signings. Thank you so much, Angela. I am so glad that you're enjoying it. So, and again, excuse my voice, but I did not want to miss today's live stream. All right, guys, so let's jump into the solutions. And for this, I'm gonna basically talk a little bit about my garden motto in chapter 2 of my book, and one philosophy I really love to go by, and this kind of takes care of the number one reason why people don't start, of it being too complicated, is start simple. Start simple. I can't emphasize that enough. Encourage your friends who have never gardened before. Don't grow a whole farm full of vegetables. Now I know Cliff is out there. He is a big space gardener. He's got a farm. He's got a whole farm full of vegetables. But if you're growing for the very first time, don't attempt, a whole farm of vegetables. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Start simple. Start simple and then expand later. Because what often happens is you get that taste of homegrown from something very simple, like a little container of lettuce right here, and you get a little bit of confidence. You might be nervous about it. You get a little bit of confidence. You see that you can do it. You love that fresh garden taste. And then before you know it, you want to grow more, and other vegetables don't seem as intimidating. So start by asking yourself very simply, what vegetables, Cliff, haha, yes, it's close to a farm, love it though. Absolutely, Cliff, and I am so proud of you for what you do out there. You have years of experience and you do an amazing job, and I know you encourage a lot of other people along the way. So that's absolutely wonderful. But if you're first starting out, start simple and ask yourself, I talk about this in more detail in my book here, what vegetables do I like to eat? So pick something that your family enjoys eating. Maybe you enjoy fresh herbs in your omelets or in your salads. Grow some fresh herbs right on your windowsill. I love to encourage people to start with, actually this leads into point number 2. Point number 2 was, reason number 1 is people say it's too complicated. I say start simple, expand later. Reason number 2 why people don't start is they say it takes too much time. Okay, keep it quick. Who says you have to have 5 hours a day to spend in the garden? Even if you just have 5 minutes and don't have any space, you can grow a garden. And here's a great example. One thing I like to encourage people to start with, and I know you guys that have been watching me for a while are gonna know what I'm gonna say here. Start with lettuce. That is one of the easiest things to start a garden with. So if you have a friend who wants to garden, all you need to do is encourage them to start a small little container of lettuce. I mean, most people have a little space where they can grow a small container like this. They can sprinkle down a few lettuce seeds. I've got great seed collections that also make it very simple for busy people or for people who have no idea what seeds to buy. This is the lettuce seed collection. There's 5 varieties in here. And this one is the Paris Cause. It's one of the varieties in the lettuce seed collection. You can start lettuce seeds even in a small little Tupperware container like this. I have some holes in the bottom there I poked with a nail. Or look around your house and see what you can find. This is a little container I bought at the dollar store. I've grown many, many crops of lettuce with this right on my windowsill. This is a little Smart Pots container. So you can grow it on your windowsill if you have a nice sunny windowsill. I like to put mine under grow lights, which is super easy to do as well. But if you don't have grow lights, don't let that stop you. I'll talk about that in just a moment. But just keep it simple. Keep it quick. So that if you don't have a lot of time, if you feel overwhelmed, just start with one thing. All you need is one thing. And once you taste that harvest, you're gonna go, you know what? I'm a gardener now. I got the bug, and next time I'm gonna grow myself a little tomato like I have right here. And then you're gonna be willing to try maybe a pepper or some herbs or something like that. So, and if grow lights is what's holding you back, let me show you guys this grow light right here. I've got a lot of videos on it. There's also a whole entire section in my book on how to get grow lights started. Very easy and very inexpensive. This is a little clamp light that you buy at any hardware store. It's got a special little light bulb in it for growing, and it's just attached to a milk jug in the back there. I got a little PVC pipe that it's clamped to, and there you go. I've got my grow light, and this tomato has been under here. I planted it about 6 weeks ago, so it's doing very, very well. So don't let that stop you. There's also, if you guys have flipped through my book, there's a great section in here on how to get grow lights set up very easily and inexpensively. So you can use this as a primer and just walk yourself right through it. And it's all just right here for you. So definitely all the tools are here. This garden community is amazing as well to answer questions. And we have a great time together here on our Monday live streams. So let me jump back into the chat before we talk about our solution number 3. Christy's posting in there how to grow lettuce indoors. There's a video we just did on that, I think around Thanksgiving time. So you can know exactly how to get a little container of lettuce started indoors, and you don't have to wonder how to do it. Okay, how many seeds do you plant for a small container of lettuce? Okay, I don't worry too much, and this is another way to keep it simple. I don't worry too much about how many seeds to plant or exact spacing when I plant lettuce. And you can go back and watch the video to see exactly how I did it on how to grow lettuce indoors. But I usually just pour a little handful of lettuce into my hand and then just pinch and sprinkle my way around the container. That's pretty much it. But definitely go back and watch that video for all the details. It literally takes about 5 minutes, and you pop it in your window, you spray it down and keep the soil moist. And then you've got lettuce that you're gonna harvest in about 2 to 4 weeks. So it really is that simple to get yourself a little windowsill or grow light garden going. It's just so much fun. And you're gonna love the fresh salads. Okay, Mr. Crazy Cool grows lettuce in small Smart Pots. It tastes so good. I also grow it in half water bottles from school. That's wonderful. I love that you're growing lettuce in all kinds of different containers. You're just making it work. You can even grow it at school. Rain Bees Plant and Germinating. Can I buy the book? I'm in Northern Africa. Okay, Rain Bee, if you go on my website, there are several different links where you can buy the book no matter where you are in the world. So if you want to buy it direct from me, I'm selling the signed copies on my website. I ship those out directly from my house, but there's also Amazon links, Barnes & Noble links. There's links that if you live in Australia, there's links if you live in the UK, there's all kinds of links. Most likely there is a link on there, Rain Bee, that will ship to North Africa. So go on my website, Callie Kim Garden and Home, take a look, and I'm sure there's somewhere where you can get this book because it is a super valuable garden how-to that you do not want to go into spring garden seasoning without this, and encourage your friends for it as well. It's going to show you everything you need to do from A to Z to get a garden going in a quick and simple and inexpensive way. And we'll get to that in just a moment. Okay, let's see other questions we planted on here. Nisha, the lettuce we planted after Christmas is sprouting in Carlsbad at our friend's place, a small patio garden. That's wonderful. Lettuce is so fast. So you can plant it, what'd you say, Nisha, after Christmas? And here it is 2 weeks later, already growing, and you're gonna be harvesting it in another 2 to 3 weeks. So super, super exciting. Okay, let's see here. I love growing, this is from Tammy. I love growing the red and green romaine lettuce in the strawberry crate tower. I learned from you in your video. Thank you, Tammy. I'm so glad you're doing that. It's really fun to grow in the strawberry crate towers. If you guys saw the video over the weekend we posted on the strawberry winter care, you saw the towers. They're basically just plastic crates stacked up. Strawberries work great in them, but you can also use them for growing all kinds of things to save space. And I know someone was in here earlier that talked about not having enough space. That's one of the things that I like to do to save space is grow vertically. So you stack up the towers, you can plant strawberries, greens, all kinds of things. And just search my channel for strawberry crate towers or strawberry lettuce crate towers, and you're gonna find some videos on how to build them. Okay, let's see. Nicole, can you talk about thyme? Okay, I don't have any thyme growing in my garden right now. I had some a while back, and I cut it way back. Actually, it was in a spot that it was kind of in the way. So I cut it way back and actually tried to transplant some and it didn't take. So I do need to get some more thyme growing, but it is super drought tolerant, a delicious herb, super flavorful, and herbs are also a great way to jump into gardening. Most of them are very simple to grow, either from seed. Thyme, I like to grow from a transplant. It's a woodier herb, so it takes a little bit longer to sprout, but super easy to pick up a transplant at the garden center and get some going there. Okay, yes, Tammy, I found some at Walmart, I think, or Target as well. You could also pick them up on Amazon, the crates. And it's a really great way to grow. Okay, let's see here. Any other questions before we move on? Edo, hi, I'm 14. That's great, Edo. I'm so glad you're here. Edu, sorry. And I'm eager to start a garden. I got inspired by your videos, but the problem is I don't know anything. Can you please help me with your advices? It would be grateful. Edo, keep watching my videos. There is so much information in there that shows you exactly what to do. We're gonna be starting a brand new spring garden series here in a couple of weeks. I'm super excited about it. I'll tell you more about that as we go. But go back and watch last year's spring garden series. It'll show you how to get started step by step, how to do everything. And ask your parents if you can pick up a copy of my book here, because this is a great way to learn step by step how to start. Seeds is in here, grow lights. Let me see if I can find the seed starting page. Starting in peat pellets, there's all kinds of different ways you can start very easily. Okay, so we're gonna talk about reason number 3 why people don't garden is they say it's too expensive. And I can totally relate to that because I felt that same way when I started. And what I have to say to you, if you feel that way, is keep it simple, just fit the budget that you have. The best way that you can start gardening inexpensively is to start from seed. You can spend a lot of money on transplants, which is great. If that's what you want to do, no problem. If that's what you have time for, no problem. But you can start so inexpensively with seeds. For example, this is my spring garden seed collection. It has 10 or 12 different varieties, I forgot. But this one is, gosh, I'm forgetting the prices right now. Sorry, guys. I think it's around $15. And there is like hundreds and hundreds of seeds in here. So if you spent $15 at your garden center, you could maybe pick up 4 transplants, so that's 4 plants. When you pick up one of my seed collections or you grow from whatever seeds you already have on hand, you are starting for pennies on the dollar as opposed to $3 or $4 for each plant. And don't let starting from seeds intimidate you. Like I said, we have videos that walk you through it step by step. And my book here will walk you through it step by step as well. So even if you just pick up 1 packet of seeds at the garden center for a couple of dollars, or whether you grab my spring garden or my lettuce or my spring garden collection on my website, where all the seeds are put together for you, all you have to do is plant a couple of lettuce seeds like I showed you right here. Spend a couple of dollars with a little bit of soil, a bag of potting mix, and you have got yourself a garden. So you can grow a big, huge garden and spend a lot of money on seeds and soil, or you can start small, keep it simple, and start and then expand later. Start with a little container, a few packets of seeds, and you are well on your way to a garden. So there's all kinds of inexpensive tips here in the book how you can keep it inexpensive, how you can keep it quick and simple, and just get yourself going. So whatever you do, don't let those reasons stop you. Just get started. That's the most important thing you can do, is start with just one thing. So I want to hear from you guys here in the chat. What have you done to keep the cost of gardening inexpensive and to keep it simple? Tammy saying the Dollar Tree already has seeds, pot, soil on their shelves, so you can go and spend $5 to $10 at the garden store, pick yourself up some supplies and bring them home, and you can get started that very same day. So Tammy, thank you so much for sharing that. Ask your garden neighbor or friend for some seeds. Rita, I love that. And in fact, Rita is a perfect example of this, because when she came up for the book signing a few weeks ago, she brought me some wonderful garden gifts, which I cannot wait to plant. She shared some potatoes with me that are sprouting. They're ready to be planted. And she also shared some little onion starts. So Rita, you're living what you preach, and you're practicing what you preach by sharing with me. I really appreciate that. And Nisha also shared with me as well. So maybe you can ask your friends who are reluctant to get started if you can share some of their seeds, your seeds with them, or maybe even start some plants for them. If you're more experienced, you might feel more confident starting a tomato, and then you can bring it to their house and maybe even help them get it planted in their garden. Okay, let's see. Cliff, the more you grow, the more you save. It's amazing to eat every dinner in the summer when it's primarily from the garden. I couldn't agree more, Cliff. In the summertime, when you have vegetables that you can go out and harvest and pick, you don't have to buy produce at the grocery store, and you might even have extra that you can freeze or can and then pull out in the winter time, and avoid having to buy canned or frozen produce at the grocery store too. So keep it simple to start. Maybe you can freeze a couple things that first year and then expand as you go on. So Debbie, I know we talked about this when we came to see you out in Hawaii. Buying soil or compost here on Lanai, she lives on an island, guys, can be very difficult and expensive. So I'm making my own worm castings and compost, and it saves a ton of money. Wonderful, Debbie. I love to see how you were saving money. Compost is a great way to save money on fertilizers. You can certainly purchase the worm castings, the plant foods, all the different things that I use in my garden. Over the years, I've been able to, save up money and be able to use those things. But start composting, and I've got tons of videos on how to do that. In fact, we're going to be filming a brand new one here in the coming weeks. Compost is absolutely free. It's a great way to use up those garden scraps, those kitchen scraps, the garden waste, different things that you would normally throw away that you can use to make a fertilizer for your garden. So that's a wonderful way to save money. Okay, Natalie, great idea. My first seeds were from actual fruits and veggies that I bought at the store. So yeah, that's a great way to save money too. I know the romaine lettuce will sprout. I've sprouted celery from the grocery store before. I've never tried this, but I know that carrots will sprout when you cut off the carrot top and plant it. So I got a couple videos on my channel, I believe, about the celery and about the romaine lettuce, but just Google it, and I'm sure you'll find plenty of YouTube videos on how to start that. One thing that's also super easy to start from a cutting, if you have a neighbor, I've got basil right here. Actually, you can start basil from a cutting at the grocery store too, and you can root it. And then this is, I just planted this in a pot, got it in a small little few-inch pot, but this is from a cutting from my garden. And I've been able to grow it on my windowsill, and then I've got one on my windowsill and one here under a grow light all winter long. So yeah, talk to your friends and see what they might have growing that you could also take some cuttings from. Okay, Grace, I'm so sorry. It's hard for me to read all the comments as I'm chatting. So if you could ask your compost question again, hopefully I will see it and be able to answer that for you. But also make sure you check on my channel at the compost playlist. There's all kinds of videos on making compost there too. Okay, Andrea, rather than buying transplants, I want to try growing strawberries from seed. Any tips? I'm in Denmark, so definitely need to start inside due to a little light and low temps. Okay, that is actually, Andrea, funny that you bring that up. I'm actually gonna try growing strawberries from seed this year as well. I did try it last year, I wasn't successful at it. I think my plants were kind of stuck up in my office and they didn't get enough water, didn't get enough attention. So I'm going to try it again. So I'm learning right along with you, and I'll be sure to bring that to you as I learn it. Okay. So it's fun to try new things each time you plant. Catherine, I grow garlic from cuttings and grow it in water. Okay, wonderful, Catherine. Someone else had mentioned growing garlic from an old garlic bulb that they stuck in one of the K-cups. You know those little coffee single-serve cups? They stuck in there in soil. It was starting to sprout, so they were going to be planting it out in their garden. So just feel free to experiment and try different things. See what works for you, and you know, you never know. You might discover that something grows that you had no idea it would grow. Okay. I started seeds a few months ago. They need heat to germinate. They grow super slow. Sorry, I caught the end of your comment there, Natalie. Not too sure what vegetable you're talking about. Mr. Crazy Cool, man, this young man is so resourceful. I rake the leaves from my neighbor's house, and they let me keep the leaves as mulch, and they pay me for it. So you can't get much better than that, Mr. Crazy Cool. You are not only getting free mulch for your garden, but your neighbors are paying you to rake their leaves. So what a resourceful guy. Again, where there's a will, there's a way. He is bound and determined to grow his garden and is doing what he can to earn the money for it. So if you want to grow your garden, there are definitely a ton of ways to do it. Keep it quick, keep it simple, keep it inexpensive. And the biggest thing that you need is just the desire to start. And I do cover this in my book as well. All you need is a desire, a little bit of seeds, a few seeds, a little bit of soil, and some sunshine, and you can grow a garden. So I really want this to be a year where we're all encouraging our friends. A lot of us, again, have been here for a while. Let's encourage our friends. If you only pick one person that might be interested, that you could encourage and help to really start gardening and growing some of their own food, and kind of catch that passion that you already have to be healthier as a result, to have all the wonderful benefits, the flavor, the health benefits, the garden therapy of growing your own vegetables. We can definitely spread what we love to do throughout our community of people that are around us. So whether it's your family, your grandma, I know Jack, I don't see Jack on here today, but he made a comment on my Instagram that he helped encourage his grandma to start a garden. He's starting seeds for her and then helping her plant them at her house. So he's encouraging his own family to have a love of gardening and hopefully helping them be healthy as well. Okay, traveling grandma. Hi there, I'm in the San Diego area. My last frost date is the middle of the month. When can I start seeds? Okay, we're gonna be covering that in the spring garden series, but basically, if you're starting seeds, you want to start them starting seeds indoors, that is, or outdoors. You want to start them indoors about 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost date. So you could get a frost in San Diego, or you might not. I know here our last frost date, I think officially, is sometime in December, maybe, but we haven't got a frost yet, and I don't know if we will at this point. So if you're in California, I would get your seeds started indoors, like your tomatoes, your peppers. Get those seeds started now, and that way, as the weather warms up in about 4 to 6 weeks, you're gonna be ready. Now, if you live like in Canada and your frost date is in May, it's a little early still to be starting seeds indoors. So you can look on farmersalmanac.com to find that last frost date of the season for you, and then back up about 6 weeks. Some vegetables you can start indoors in about 10 weeks. And then you can get your vegetables started indoors, saving yourself money by starting from seed, remember. There's a lot of your basic garden is right here in the spring garden seed collection. And then as the weather warms up, you'll be able to get them planted out in your garden. And we are gonna be walking through that process step by step in the brand new spring garden series starting up in a couple of weeks. It's gonna be different this year. But if you're raring to get started, watch last year's spring garden series, and you can grab one of my spring garden seed collections. Remember, they're 10% off today with the code CallieKim2020, and get your seeds started. I'm gonna be starting mine probably in the next week or two. So it's gonna be so much fun to start the warm weather vegetables like the tomatoes and the peppers, and have those wonderful, tasty, fresh vegetables growing once again. Now, the person in San Diego who is wanting to start seeds indoors, here in a southern climate where we have warm winters, you can grow a lot outside right now. I've got lettuce and peas and kale, broccoli, cauliflower. I threw down all kinds of seeds over the past couple of weeks because we were having rain. So don't let the fact that you might have a frost date stop you. Start some cool weather vegetables outdoors right now if you live in a southern climate. And if you're wondering what cool weather vegetables are, some vegetables are grow best in cooler temperatures. Some grow best in warmer temperatures. And again, I go into that in my book, so you would have all the details that you need right here. Okay, let me head into the chat. We've got a few minutes left, and I want to see if you guys have any last questions before we sign off for the day. And what a fun way to kick off 2020. Thinking about really helping other people this year get more passionate about growing their own food. Okay, let's see here. And yes, Christy's posting. If your question does not get answered, please email me at Callie Kim. Christy, that's not the correct email. If you want to pop in the correct email, my email is calliekim@calliekimgardenhome.com. So you can email me your questions as well, and I will do my best to email you back. Okay, let's see here. Any other questions? Billy's Big Top. Growing peppers for homemade salsa. It is so much fun to make your own salsa. So easy, even if you just make a fresh little pico de gallo with homegrown tomatoes and peppers. It's a completely raw salsa. It takes about 5 minutes to make from your garden, fresh vegetables, and it is so, so delicious. Okay, let's see here. Tending a garden is hard work. You know what, Johnny? It can be hard work. It definitely can. But you know what? I absolutely love getting out in the garden, and what I try and do so I don't get myself too overworked is just bite off a little chunk each day. So I have a pretty large garden, so I like to maybe just take one area of the garden. I really get a good workout out there, which I really like. It helps me stay healthy. It puts me in a good mood because I'm outside enjoying the sunshine. And I find that I don't have to work so hard to keep my weight down because I'm out in the garden all the time. I'm lugging around soil, I'm digging, and I absolutely love it. So I know a lot of you feel the same way. If you get overwhelmed, just bite off a little chunk at a time. Okay, let's see here. Mr. Crazy Cool, do you have any new ideas for plants for a gardener on a budget? Yeah, we just talked about a bunch of those, starting from seed. There's all kinds of great ideas in here. So hopefully, Mr. Crazy Cool, you can grab a copy of my book. Make sure you ask your mom and find out and read about some of the tips. But we talked about a ton of them here. You can go back and watch the replay of the live stream, and then make sure you write some of those ideas down, and then you can remember to do them. Okay, let's see here. Maybe we'll take one more question. Okay, Tony, about drip irrigation. I could not agree with you more. So it sounds like, and I think we talked about this, you've installed drip irrigation recently. I know Nisha recently installed it as well. I would be so incredibly lost without my drip irrigation system. So it might seem a little bit intimidating to install it first. It is actually very affordable, a lot more affordable than you think, and a lot easier than you think to get it going. And I've got videos on it and also step-by-step in the book here. Let me see if I can find that chapter. This book is just such a great resource. Step-by-step, how to start drip irrigation. It really takes the guesswork and the mystery out of it. But your vegetables are gonna be so much healthier. You're gonna be happier because you don't have to water as much and stand out there and take your time watering. And you can go on vacation and leave your garden. We left this past summer for 10 days and didn't have to worry about our garden not being watered. So it really, really is very helpful. So guys, this has been a wonderful start to our 2020 year here. And we're getting all geared up for spring gardening. If you are excited about spring gardening, stick with us here. I know a lot of you are in the winter time and maybe are getting a little bit down from the long, cold days. Stick with us here. We're gonna be gardening outside in the sunshine, hopefully this weekend, and sending some warm California sunshine your way. And hopefully it'll give you a little bit of lift if you're gardening in a northern climate. So guys, thanks so much for joining us today. Stay tuned for a lot more videos, and don't forget about the sale today, 10% off at calliekimgardenhome.com of a signed copy of my book, all seed collections and containers. And the spring garden one, if you're brand new, would be a great one to start with. All right, guys, have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next Monday at noon Pacific time right here. And hopefully we'll be outside next week. All right, guys, bye-bye. Hugs.